What's up, everybody? You're listening to SlingShot Sports with Frankie and the boys. We got a great show for you tonight. I'm going to introduce everybody that's sitting around right now. To my left here, who we got?
This is the Commish.
What's up, Commish?
This is Corliss.
We got Corliss.
This is Owen.
Owen.
Frank.
You know Frankie.
This is Wilma.
Wilma's over here on my right.
Old Bill.
Old Dale over here eating the noodles. Hey, who we got over here?
And we got Kick-Ass.
Then we got Kick-Ass. All right, so tonight, dudes, there
could be dudettes.
and dudettes. So tonight, our first topic is going to be one of Frankie's favorites. So there have been 3 major injuries today on Thursday in the NFL. Dude, that was so loud. You popping your fingers. I picked it up on the microphone. Like it was like loud. Oh, it was loud,
I hope you
man.
can cut all that out.
No, I'm gonna leave it. I like it.
Alright, so we're talking about Thursday injuries, walkthrough day, easy
Yeah,
day
walkthrough
for everybody
day.
in the NFL, trying to get acclimated
All
to
you
what
do-
the teams
yeah.
are playing and what offense they're going to be running.
Yeah, here's what you do. You go out, you stretch, you throw a couple passes, talk about the game plan. And Deshaun Watson tore his ACL. He's out for the season. He's the number 1 player in fantasy football.
Who else got hurt?
Andrew Luck was ruled out for the year finally. It's not really news, but they announced it officially. Then Pierre Garçon broke his neck or something. And he's out indefinitely.
I didn't know he played anymore.
Yeah, I didn't
He
either.
just volunteered on the side.
No, he was in the Super Bowl like 10, 15 years
Does he
ago.
play
or
for
something.
the 49ers?
Yeah.
That's why you don't know. You still don't have a win. But he's
I
not,
mean,
he's
make a
not
good
bad.
point. Oh, dude, they got Garoppolo now. Garoppolo is going to take the 49ers back
He
to
was an
greatness.
all-star player at one point in his career, right?
Well, no, he was the backup. He was the backup.
Jimmy
for-
Garoppolo
from the Patriots?
No, Pierre Garçon,
Yeah.
not Garoppolo.
Oh, no, Garçon,
He was there.
he was with Peyton Manning on the Colts, and anybody with Peyton Manning is a star. So, I mean, he was good with Peyton Manning.
Okay, Deshaun Watson, though.
Yeah, Deshaun Watson
get
tears his
into
ACL. He's out for the year.
Alright, so how are we seeing how this is going to affect the Texans' season?
Man,
So who's their quarterback coming up?
Tom Savage.
Tom Savage.
Because
Hopefully they get
They were
Kaepernick.
going to be real contenders.
No, they were
going
gonna. I think they were gonna win their
I think
division.
they're still going to be contenders.
I
don't
Just
know.
for the fact that they
I don't know.
have
Here,
Miller
let me
and
give you
DeAndre
let me
Hopkins.
give you some statistics here. With Tom Savage actually sharing snaps with Deshaun Watson the first 2 weeks of the season, ever since the first 2 weeks, the Texans have scored 30 or plus points. Week 1 they scored like 13. Week 2
Yeah, they didn't do
scored
much.
13.
Right.
They didn't have
Because
any
he's
offense
split
at the
snaps.
beginning of the year.
Tom
Yeah, and you couldn't get.
And also, those were the 2 games that Deshaun Watson didn't break 2 or more touchdowns in a game.
Right.
Yeah.
Week
The
1 he
only
had 1,
games
week 2 he had 0, never breaking over 130 yards passing.
So now they're
in
going
the
to
air.
go back to what they
And
were.
the team average of total yards was less than 250.
So here we go back
So
to
what are you
should
seeing
know
this
USA.
affecting them since week 3 and until now? Deshaun Watson has made the total average yards averaging up to 350.
Dude, DeAndre Hopkins
You
is
can't
right. DeAndre Hopkins
You really
is
can't
dropping.
replace
Oh,
that,
yeah.
especially
No,
as a
Deshaun
rookie
Watson-
quarterback introducing a team who hasn't been a playoff contender
Dude, I'll
for
give-
at least
ever.
7 seasons.
I'll
No,
give it to
they've
him. Like,
never
I'll
been-
back up.
Well,
And that's-
they haven't
and
done
that-
anything since Arian Foster was fresh, and Arian
Yeah.
Foster hasn't been fresh since his rookie year.
Exactly, and you
So,
gotta think.
what does this mean for the Texans? I think it means that their season's over.
Oh,
Yeah,
I think so
I
too
think
because
they've got a
they were the
chance
favorites.
to scrape 1 or 2 games out and maybe make it somewhere in the division, but they're not going to finish top 2.
No, they were the
I'll tell you
favorite.
that.
They were the favorites to win that division, and they're not going to make the playoffs now. I don't think.
Let's not
Let's
forget
say
they
they
lost
lost
J.J. Watt, too.
Exactly. Imagine if they had
And
J.J.
Merciless.
Watt. Yeah, they've had 3 major career-ending. Not career. Good lord,
Season.
that would be awful.
Dude, so think about next season.
Season-ending
Next
injuries.
season, they're going to be ready.
Oh, J.J. Watt back.
Are
If
they,
Deshaun
though?
Watson, if he can bounce back, and I,
don't
think he
he's going
can.
to be ready until about halfway through the season next year, and playing him will be.
I mean, it's
a
still
big
fairly
risk.
early. We're right at halfway through the season.
But
No,
ACL
they said-
is such a risky
Right.
next season play.
They said that he's on schedule. You know, if he starts and if his recovery goes well, then he's on schedule to start the first game next year. But you never really know. But I mean,
Everybody's different.
yeah, exactly. But if it's gonna happen, if something that bad is gonna happen, it might as well happen now, while you're 23 years old or whatever. You know, and you can actually recover. Because if that happens to You know.
I mean, hell, Todd Gurley's tore what, both of his?
Oh yeah, he's torn like 3 ACLs.
Let's go.
Yeah.
He's still tearing
Exactly,
up.
but if knock on wood, somebody like Aaron Rodgers tears their ACL, their career's over.
I mean,
You
he's
know.
dead anyways, isn't he?
Watson did tear his ACL at Clemson, but I don't know if it was the same one.
Did he?
Fair enough.
Yeah.
So I mean, he might be in the next RG3, tear his ACL 8 times in a row, then say I'm the best quarterback in the NFL, then play for then play for the Browns, and then never.
And RG3's
Here again.
defense, he
Oh, I love
lead
RG3.
them to the playoffs his rookie season.
Yeah, him and Alfred Morris, they were rookies.
As did Cam. So every mobile quarterback that
Rookie year is really good,
that-
honestly.
Yeah, I was going to say, they always add a little bit of spice to the league.
Because you don't know how to defend them.
Okay.
You don't have.
Any Cowboys player can
But think about it. Everybody else on the team, when you're playing them, you have film on every athlete except the rookies. So the rookies almost like the first half of the season, the rookies really kind of have like that kind of advantage. Like it's not an advantage like skill wise or whatever, but it's like they don't know what you're going to bring to the table. They don't know what to expect.
Yeah, no professional athlete wants to pay to watch every last year's football game.
Oh yeah, no, they're not
Especially
watching.
when they play people that are,
They don't
not
worry
even
about rookies.
D2 worthy fucking schools.
Exactly,
and they
man.
walk all over them because in college the competition is completely different.
Oh,
than
it's
the
totally
NFL.
different.
Unless you're the Browns, then anybody.
The
But-
Browns. That's like being like
Brooklyn High School in
Like Arkansas.
2008.
like the Razorbacks. Yeah,
Whoa.
everybody's gonna walk all over you.
I think the Razorbacks would stomp the Browns.
I don't know, man. I think
that'd be a shit.
that would be a battle. That would be a battle of who just can't stand to not lose a game.
I really think
It's like, no, you're not gonna beat me,
Out.
or you're not gonna let me beat you. You're gonna beat me, I promise. No, it's gonna happen.
I was gonna say, who wants to win less?
That's the mentality for it.
So, how are you feeling about Brissett actually playing then? Are you feeling like they're going to actually be able to scrape out a win against him, or you still think they're going to have to really work for it like they have for the rest of the season? Because last week they just had that scrap fest with the Bengals. Who,
They really did
have
get close to
actually
beating the
been-
Bengals.
Because the Bengals have been actually showing up since, they lost, 3 in a row at the beginning of the season?
Yeah, I mean, they're coming together, but they're not. They're not legitimate, but
Bengals are.
Brissett's definitely not
Brissett, he's
QB1 material.
No.
But he's got good movement in the pocket, and he's got good vision if he could just work on his accuracy and
And he's not
actually
scared to
hold
run.
it.
He gets a lot of rushing touchdowns.
I was going to
too.
say, if he could work on
Hey,
his...
fantasy-wise, that's where it's at.
Fantasy.
Exactly.
If he could
He
just
has
work
his
on
moments.
his accuracy a little bit, I think everything would come together a little bit more.
no. I think Brissett. He's super young. He was a third string for New England, so like he wasn't really a quarterback in the NFL at all.
He was in practice squad.
Yeah, he was a practice squad quarterback, and then they're like, "Hey, you want to start?" And he's like, "Well, yeah, I guess I have to." And he won a game last year. Now he might have lost his start, so there's a lot of development that needs to go on. But he's showing a lot of signs of to where he could, like when Andrew Luck gets healthy, he could be a solid backup.
All right, while you say that, though, what do you think really is going to change when Andrew Luck gets healthy? He hasn't had 2 full seasons.
No, that's
as
not what
a
I'm saying.
starting quarterback. He played at Stanford. You can say it's a prestigious school, but
Yeah.
will that really help him? You know how many quarterbacks have played from prestigious schools that have came in and did nothing? Texas A&M, for example, Johnny Manziel. Johnny
you're
Manziel had, 2 decent games? Aaron
He-
Luck had
I think he
one
had-
good season, maybe.
I don't know what their contract report into him is, but they put a lot of money into him so far.
They put a
I don't
lot of money
think
into-
They're gonna let him go.
No,
I
they're
think
gonna give
Brissett,
him-
when he
they're
gets
gonna give
healthy,
him-
They're gonna say Brissett. See you.
Yeah,
It's
they're
kinda
going to
like
trade
he-
him to get a piece somewhere. I
But
think
is
so.
he really franchise material if you think about it? If you haven't even gotten
It depends
the time
on-
to see what he puts out there.
It depends on what you're asking me. If you're asking me if I think that Andrew Luck will be the starter, or if I think that he should be the starter.
No, it's
'cause-
not even really that. If it's you
Or
think
like a star.
Andrew Luck
Is the
There you
answer?
go. Is he the answer? Is he
No,
the star? Is he the savior for the Indianapolis Colts?
Here's what I
Or
think.
is he,
Or
more
is he the
just
Tony
a
Romo?
skull
I was about to
tactic?
say, I think he's
He
going to
held
be.
him back
I
for
think
like
he's going to be a
that.
Tony Romo. I think he's going to be somebody that gets locked into a contract, and they have to give him a few too many chances, and he's going to have signs of greatness. He's going to have a few games where it's like, oh, he's really great, but he's going to make those few. I'm not trying to take away from Tony Romo per se. I was a Tony Romo fan at one time. You know, I can't lie, man. I was raised to be a Cowboys fan, so I didn't have a choice.
Hey, we never talked about our raisins.
I am so upset with you.
I know, but
You too.
that's even
You
worse.
say a Cubs fan?
That's disgusting. We're not even going to talk about that, though.
Let's keep it.
Please keep that.
Yeah.
That's why I don't
But,
that's why I don't tell you.
But no, I think they're going to go with Andrew Luck until it's time to give up on it. You know, I don't think they're going to give Brissett a chance, because I think when Andrew Luck gets healthy, he'll either be a backup or they'll try to trade him to another team to try to get a good backup and a draft pick or something, and get, you know, some team at the bottom like Josh McCown for the Jets. He's 38 years old or whatever. You know, he's not going to be around for very long. You know, so he could go to a team like the Jets, or, you know, somebody that needs a quarterback answer for short term, but he could develop into a long term.
I was like to say,
Decent.
they'll probably hold on to him just to develop him after.
I mean,
They might.
they're going to
You never
hold
know.
on to him.
Onto Brissett, you think?
Just in case. Just
I
in
mean,
case.
Savior.
You're
If they want
right.
to send them to
You know-
somebody who needs a quarterback, send them to the Dolphins.
Hey, Jay Cutler's the GOAT. Jay Cutler is
needs to
better.
die, is what Jay
The two
Cutler
greatest
needs.
quarterbacks in the
Alright?
NFL are in order: 1, Josh McCown, and 2, Jay Cutler. I want to go on record officially saying that. That's why I'm leaning into the mic right now, so it's extra loud. I want everyone to realize Josh McCown. They can't hear you guys. They can't hear you talking. It's only me right now. Josh McCown, Jay Cutler. Best two quarterbacks in the NFL.
Okay,
Now you guys can talk.
On a note
That is the worst thing that you have
Two
ever
best
decided.
quarterbacks of all time.
That's
Hall of
disgusting.
Fame.
On
Yes.
something
Hall
that's
of
going to
Fame.
make me not throw up.
It's only done once, actually.
Clearly, the Jets won tonight. It's 31-7 fourth. That's
Hey
I'm
man,
upset. But
if
who
it's
you
the
guys
Falcons,
think's
the
gonna
Falcons
win
would blow
week?
this lead.
There's a lot of good games.
Lose this game.
The Falcons would find a way to lose this game.
Yeah, I
Hope
would.
you haven't forgot.
But they're
New
not
York
Josh
Jets-
McCown. They're not Josh McCown.
You're right. You're right. Matt Ryan is no Josh McCown.
Josh, 38 years old. In case you didn't know, Josh McCown
Exactly.
still doing it up.
Unbeatable.
How do I see?
We got the Falcons and the Panthers. That'll
Falcons
be a
and
good
Panthers.
game.
I'm taking the Panthers at home, and that's because I'm a Panthers fan. I'm terrified of the Falcons in that
Better be
game.
scared of the Packers.
Hey,
Probably you should be.
so I like the Panthers versus the Falcons, not just because I'm a Panthers fan.
I don't believe you.
Mainly because
That's
I'm a Panthers
exactly
fan.
what
100%. Okay. 1,000 all because I'm a Panthers fan. Because I'm scared of the Falcons because they still have Matt Ryan and Julio Jones and Devontae Freeman.
But it's
they
been
can't
an
be that bad.
unproductive season for them.
It's
to
been
say the
awful for
least.
all. It's been awful for all of them. But I'm scared because I know what that offense can do. Just like the Panthers, that's how the Panthers are. Like they show spurts of the
Are you talking
2015.
about offensively or defensively for the Panthers?
A little bit of both, really. Like their offense isn't putting up near the numbers they used to, but they show spurts. They have drives where they'll go 6 plays, 85 yards, and a touchdown.
Hey, and like you said, they got Greg Olsen.
Yeah.
He's in practice. So
Exactly. When Greg Olsen
they
comes
lost
back-
I
Kelvin,
doubt
but-
he's gonna make a debut this weekend. I think
No,
they're
no,
gonna-
he's-
save him.
But it
No,
will be
it'll be a
exciting.
little while. No, he won't be. It'll be 3 more weeks.
What's
4
up,
more
Commish?
weeks.
Who you got?
I
You're
don't think
unbiased
I
on
don't
this
think
one.
they're gonna make the full
What do you think? The Panthers and Falcons
Or Panthers.
at Carolina. That's a good
didn't-
game, right?
Haven't they already played?
No, they haven't. The Panthers have played the Saints and they lost big time at home to the Saints. But and then they played Tampa Bay.
No, that was who was it? The Falcons beat them only about 5.
That was
15.
Who was that? That was at the beginning of the year.
Detroit?
Oh, no.
Yeah, they barely beat Detroit.
No, they beat Detroit on that last play. Remember?
Yeah.
I was
Like,
I
Detroit
was
almost scored.
That was
All right.
disgusting.
Blah,
I was
blah,
watching
blah.
it, and the ref came on. He said he was down. He was down, so there's going to be a 10-second runoff. So Lions lose, go home. And then walked off the field, and they're like, what? And everybody's just confused, and they're like, yeah, you guys lost, go away. And that was it.
Alright, never mind. Sorry, get back into the Panthers game.
I think it's gonna be more just an offensive game.
I think it has the potential to be a big time
I think
offensive
Matty
game.
Ice is going to come together at some point.
It's really him and Julio and Devontae Freeman. They can't stay cold forever.
Yeah, that's what I think.
Yeah.
think
No, they'll
halfway
have a
through the
big game.
They'll be score, round
Yeah.
up, tied up, and then the Falcons will pull ahead.
I definitely-
Because
Honestly,
they
if
have
you
that
ask me,
offensive.
I
They really
think
do.
that's gonna come down to receiving backs, which will be Tevin Coleman and
Devontae. You got Devontae Freeman. He catches out of the backfield.
I was gonna say on both offensive
Yeah,
sides.
them
I'm gonna
versus
say
Christian
Tevin
McCaffrey.
Coleman. No, I'm actually picking
Stewart.
Stewart to actually leading, not leading receptions,
But kinda leading, like,
leading
yards as the
receptive
back.
yards, because I'm expecting him to be a sleeper really, and a screenplay or something within the red zone to actually pick up a touchdown.
Really, that's what's crazy about Carolina. They just traded Kelvin Benjamin. And, okay, Panthers fan, I like Kelvin Benjamin a lot. He's a huge target in the red zone.
But he is 17 receptions less than a running back who's the lead reception.
That's true.
But
I know.
he has missed how many 3 games?
I think Kelvin Benjamin's missed like 2 games, probably. But either way, no, I mean, they're not going to him as much. He got hurt. His rookie year, he was great. Then he tore his ACL, and he missed his whole second year. And he came back last year, and he was pretty decent and getting back into the swing of things. And then this year, the Panthers' offense has just been kind of stagnant lately.
Yeah, I was gonna say, you gotta watch for the jump ball. Cam loves to throw in traffic.
But see, the biggest thing that hurt Kelvin Benjamin this year, honestly, was Greg Olsen getting hurt. Because Greg Olsen, in all respects, Greg Olsen was by far Cam's favorite target. Because my favorite thing to do on Madden, if anybody listening to this ever plays me in Madden and I have the Panthers, this is what I do every time, or anybody in the room. I got Cam Newton and I run like a skinny post, not a skinny post, a skinny flag route with Greg Olsen, and I roll out to the right with Cam, and there's going to be a linebacker that either comes up to stop the run or goes to cover Olsen. So I either hit him for a 8-yard gain or I run every time.
See that? What's your
It's
opinion
dangerous.
on Funchess becoming the number 1
I
target?
I like Funchess. He's not a great receiver, but I like him just personally.
He's a good route runner.
Yeah, I like him personally as like he's a player that I like. Even if
I feel like he's got a lot of potential to grow. I feel like he
does.
could run
Tyrod.
Benjamin under, basically under the water here. He could put
No, he definitely-
Kelvin out of a number 1 receiving spot if he could just work on his hands a little bit.
Oh, definitely.
Because his route running is superb.
No, I really like Funchess a lot.
But it's a little iffy, especially when you don't have a second target really, other than a running back.
Exactly.
McCaffrey doesn't really split out.
Exactly.
enough. He
That's
runs
why-
more out of the shotgun.
That's why I'm a little worried about them blowing up Kelvin Benjamin, just getting rid of him. I'm like, what are we just giving up on the season? Like, are we calling it quits? You know, are we saying, oh well, we tried our best?
And see, that's the
What
thing.
was that other big trade? Who's the big trade this week?
There was Garoppolo getting traded. That was the big one.
Ajayi.
Ajayi, to the Eagles.
So what are they expecting from Canyon? Yeah.
Who?
Yeah, Keon Drake. What are they expecting
Oh, I
from
guess-
him and the Dolphins? I feel like they're
I don't
really
know.
giving up on the
Yeah.
season because
No, they
they're-
really
they're
are.
trying to make-
The Dolphins
They're
have a game
blowing
this
it
week
up.
against the Raiders. And the Dolphins are 4-3. You know, they're
Yes,
not
sir.
that
But-
bad.
but they're giving
they've
up.
got a winning season. They're getting their 20 touch back
They're doing-
away.
Yeah, I feel like they're-
Yeah, I've
four
watched
touch
Jai ain't really been doing it. It could be
But-
the
He
Dolphins'
ain't
offensive
been, he ain't
line.
been doing it, but he's been getting 40-plus
Right,
yards
they've
a
been
week.
using-
But
he-
yeah,
And 40
he's
yards
still-
rushing is
I don't
still
know what
40
he's
yards
still-
rushing to disrupt
I mean,
enough to where you want to
Besides-
question whether it's a play action or a run.
oh, here are the 3 trades right here that just happened.
Oh, Garoppolo went to San Francisco. That might
Yeah,
actually work
that's what I'm
out.
saying. Yeah, he's not going to play this week because just like Kelvin Benjamin, he hasn't like been to practice.
No,
But,
okay. How about those Browns not being able to get the trade because they can't hit the deadline?
Yeah,
right?
did you guys hear about
That's the
that?
most Brown thing I've ever heard. in my
Yeah.
life.
Who is it they were trying to get? I can't remember.
They were celebrating AJ McCarron.
AJ McCarron. Yeah.
Celebrating.
Okay.
He could
Here-
have saved their season if you
Listen,
ask me.
here was a thing that I heard, or something I saw on Twitter. They said, what was the more Browns thing to do? Was it to miss the deadline, or was it to think that A.J. McCarron was going to actually change anything in Cleveland?
I think he really, if you
But like,
ask
is
me,
he the answer? Is he the answer?
I don't think AJ McCarron.
No, he's a
Is he
pro.
a
He's a
quarterback?
step up, but
Yeah.
he's not. Like,
Yeah, he's a step up, and he's
He's pretty young.
well. I don't know. He played in college in like
Where's
20.
he at?
He's from Alabama.
2014 was his graduation.
Was 2014?
year, I think.
So he's still pretty
2014,
young.
Who's he play for now?
I have no idea. I couldn't.
Was that
He
re-
played for the Bengals. He
What
was the
happened?
backup for Andy
They were trying
Dalton.
to trade and they.
Yeah, he's still
Yeah,
at the
they tried to get him
Bengals.
at the trade deadline, and they missed the deadline, and didn't get him. Yeah,
Hadn't he
See,
played
here's
there
the thing.
before?
Bengals got the deadline.
he's always been in the for Cincinnati.
See,
Watch this
while the
onside
Browns
kick.
tried to argue it. Bengals got the deadline. The Browns did not by like 3 minutes because I don't know.
Because they're the
their
Browns.
facts or something.
Yeah, just because they're the Browns. Like it.
Yeah, they're
That's
still
all there is
probably
to it.
using like dial-up modems.
Oh yeah.
I mean, that's not really their fault. They live in Cleveland. They can't afford proper Wi-Fi.
Right.
What are they looking
So
at?
they use the Pony
It went
Express.
10 yards.
I don't
Nobody was
know.
offsides. They obviously got the kick. I think.
I saw a
So, yeah.
flag.
Maybe they called it offsides or something, but it wasn't. There was nobody offsides.
Maybe the hit.
Got the Rams playing the Giants this week. That's beautiful.
The Rams and the
ain't giving
Giants.
another whooping.
The Rams will win by
I'm calling
By
the
what?
score 42-17.
All right.
42-17.
Don't hate me, guys.
I'm not. I'm calling it 32.
He's picking the
I'm
Giants.
calling
I'm
it 32-12.
actually
What's the
picking the
Ouch.
Giants.
Ouch.
This is going to be the
Ouch.
like. Don't get me wrong. I want the Rams to win.
Hot take.
They've been on a hot streak this season, but they're just now getting a wide receiver 2 at least back on the field, which they
Yeah,
haven't
man.
had in a solid 3
We got it
weeks.
early.
I mean, you are
Give it to
right.
Jared Goff.
I'm finding that they are going to find the dump pass on the tight end, which the Rams are not the greatest at covering tight ends. They're very good. Don't get me wrong, but they're not going to be looking for the Giants to have a
So
wide
you're saying-
receiver in the
You're
slot.
saying
And I'm
Ingram's going
saying,
to tear it up?
huh?
You're saying Ingram's going to tear it up?
And
Not, not by any means. I'm actually going to
For the
say
Giants.
Eli. I'm going to say Eli is going to be owning the passing game and putting it where it needs to be on the out routes and the out of bound lines. That way he can milk the clock the way he wants to, and it's going to come down to a last minute drive. It's going to come down to a field goal, and I really think that the Giants are going to be able to pull it out.
I've got 2 Slingshot Sports facts for you real quick.
I
Fact,
swear, I hope I'm wrong. But
fact number 1. Eli Manning is the only quarterback to ever beat Tom Brady in the Super Bowl, and he's done so twice, 2-0 against Tom Brady.
Yep.
Fact number 2. Eli Manning will not lose to Jared Goff on Sunday. Because Todd Gurley, Jared Goff, Sammy Watkins, Greg Zerline are going to beat the Giants
Another close game.
35-10.
It's not the offense he's worried about; it's the defense of the Rams.
See, I'm calling 13.
Rams is a great defense.
Well, I know,
I like that.
Another
I just wanted to-
great games. The Ravens and the Titans.
I was just being funny.
Putting
The
some
Ravens
out
and the
there.
Titans 4-4 and 4-3. Nobody cares about either one of
all
those
right,
teams.
But no, I see your point though.
Alright,
I think
I'm going
Titans
to
are
kind
gonna
of switch pace
I don't.
here, go to more of a question here.
All right,
Uh,
who's the question
to
for?
the Cowboy fan, Mr. Hewlett over here.
Mr. Kamish.
How are you feeling about the change in pace on running backs to an Alfred Morris?
All right.
How are you going to feel more of the change of pace towards a more of ground game block game of Alfred Morris over the pass reception and run game of the Cowboys with Alfred Morris over Ezekiel Elliott after the suspension finally justly takes place?
Yeah, that did
Getting
get good day
passionate.
finally, right?
Yes.
Finally. Good.
Now they have 3 running backs in the picture: Alfred Morris, Darren McFadden, and Rod Smith.
Darren McFadden hasn't been healthy
All
this
right,
year.
all
What's
right,
been going on
yeah,
with that?
yeah.
He's healthy. He's just been a healthy scratch every game.
Okay.
How do you feel about that? That he was one of the talks of being cut, and now that they're
He was
putting
the
him out
leader-
there as an RB2 for the Cowboys, do you really think he's going to play over Rod?
Rod Smith.
Yeah, you
I
think
mean,
he's
he
gonna
was
play
the
over him
leading
at
rusher.
all?
He was the leading rusher in the entire NFL his first year with the Cowboys before they got Zeke.
Like,
This
what,
is clearly
what
saying
makes
something.
him
It's
more?
clearly just saying that the Cowboys
The
have
Cow-
a hell of an offensive line. Put
DeMarco
somebody
Murray,
there
Darren
and go.
McFadden, Ezekiel Elliott were all top rushers in the NFL.
Go.
So
Cowboys
what,
offensive
what
line.
makes Rod Smith, and my opinion, I find Rod Smith more of a viable running back than I would Darren McFadden this time. But how do you feel like Morris himself will add to the team and the growth in it while we have the obvious number one choice on suspension?
It's yet to be seen what Alfred Morris can do as the lead back. He's had a few good runs this season, but he hasn't been in on a consistent basis. He'll get the first shot at the lead back role with McFadden being the change of pace and Rod Smith being the passing down back. They're probably going to go with a hot hand approach at the beginning between McFadden and Alfred Morris on first and second down. And we'll see where it goes. The offensive line is still really good. It's not quite what it was last year. And they're going to have to rely more on Dak's arm and the receivers.
Alright, if you don't mind me asking, when Morris changed over from the Redskins to the Cowboys, you noticed a change in offensive scheme. With the Redskins, it was more of a spread out shotgun run look. With the Cowboys, after Romo had left and Dak became in there, it was more of an under the center look. How are you seeing the actual scheme change factoring in for Morris himself?
I think Alfred Morris can still fit the scheme. He's been in the system for a couple of years now, and he can be a downhill runner also.
Opinion on the outcome of the Kansas City Cowboys game this weekend?
The Cowboys don't have a chance.
Yeah, I think Chiefs are going to beat them easily.
The Chiefs are the
Alright.
second best team in football. I had them third in my power rankings because they were on a 2-game skid, but
What's the question?
I do think that the
Chiefs
Chiefs.
and Cowboys.
Kansas City or
Oh.
Chiefs?
I think
Kansas
that
City.
I think the Chiefs and the Eagles are miles ahead of everybody else in the
And we
NFL,
are
except
aware
maybe the
that-
Rams. The Rams are super close,
And we
and the
are
Steelers
that-
are pretty close.
We are aware that
But-
the ESPN statistics are choosing the Cowboys still, right?
Oh yeah, no. ESPN is picking the Patriots and Cowboys as two of the 5 best teams
Because,
in
like, the
football,
Patriots,
and they're
like,
awful.
pay
They're not
so
good.
Salary out there.
Yeah, exactly, because they get so much money off covering the Patriots and Cowboys.
Right.
So yeah, every power rankings they have, the Patriots are number 1. The Patriots barely beat the Jets. The Patriots barely beat the Buccaneers. The Patriots
Your prediction.
lost to Carolina, lost to Kansas City. I mean, they're barely scraping by in games that they should be blowing people out. They're missing Julian Edelman. Who else are they missing? Danny Amendola, is he still gone?
He's here.
He's here now.
Hogan's out now.
Hogan's out
It says
now.
Hogan's out for like 2-3 weeks. Or
Yeah. Gronk is always banged up. Who was it that just got hurt?
Hogan.
Dante Hightower?
Yeah.
Yeah, Dante Hightower just got hurt. I mean, the Patriots aren't good. They're they're better than your average team. They're
Their
better.
best running back's Deion Lewis.
Yeah, they're better than the Bears. Yeah, they're better than the Bengals and the Cardinals. But are they better than the Bills or even the Saints? You know, and
Saints, man. Saints
those
are
aren't
good.
even. Yeah, the Saints are slept
Saints are
on.
good.
The Jets just beat the Bills, the 5th best team in my power rankings, 34-21, because the Bills or the Jets and the Bills, they're both legit this year. But I mean, do you really think the Patriots are better than the Vikings? I don't know. I don't think so.
It's
No,
scary,
listen.
but-
No, the Jets and the Bills could knock the Patriots out of the playoffs, and I would not be shocked. It would not surprise me.
That would obviously
It's
be
just so
shocking.
crazy. Who
but-
saw
It would
this
be
coming?
It would be shocking, like in a broad spectrum, but like from right now, this point in the season, I'd be like, okay, yeah, I could see it happening, for sure.
Alright, if you don't mind me interrupting, I would like to get a fan of one of these two teams' perspective on this.
You can be as biased as you want because I will always be biased for the Panthers, so I can't judge you. But you know, what are your thoughts, Cowboy, on Kansas City and Dallas this weekend?
The Cowboys are favored by 1 in
Which is crazy.
Jerry
Which doesn't
World.
make any sense, first off.
Ah.
Doesn't make any sense.
The commission's official prediction is that the Cowboys will win.
Of course. Of course.
31 23, and Dak Prescott is going to throw for 2 touchdowns and rush for 1, baby. I think Dak's
Well,
gonna do.
yeah, are you thinking he's really going to earn those touchdowns? You know, let's say 300 collective yards total on Dak's side of the game. Are you expecting that from him against the Chiefs, whose defense has been outstanding compared to the rest of the league almost this season?
Pretty
It hasn't
phenomenal,
looked as
but
sloppy
not-
as the Patriots, as sloppy as the Cowboys, I hate to say it, Chase, but as sloppy as the Panthers have.
No, they've been very sloppy this year.
But not top Kansas City
Because-
defense we've seen before either.
I was going to say,
Still, you know,
They
middle of the
they are a
pack.
bit susceptible to the pass. I
Right.
think
They
Dak
did
is.
lose Eric Berry.
That's right.
Hey.
I
Yeah.
think Dak's probably going to throw for about 250 yards.
I could
and-
actually see that happening.
and then rush for about 30.
I see your point there, Kamish. I could actually see Dallas putting up a fight in this game, honestly. I'm going to go with a similar, you said what, 31-23?
Yeah.
I really think it's going to be closer to like a 34-28 Kansas City win. But I really do think that Dallas has a pretty decent chance against them. Because the way that Dak is playing, especially now that, I don't know if Dak, I don't know how well he'll be able to pick up the extra slack from Zeke. I just don't think that Dallas without Zeke has what it takes to beat Kansas City, especially with their offense. I don't think the Cowboys defense can stop the Kansas City offense with Alex Smith, Tyreek Hill, Travis Kelce, Kareem Hunt. I just don't think that Dallas has what it takes to slow them down enough that they can outscore them without probably their best player.
all right,
Go ahead.
I'm dropping my hater edition part 2.
Let's hear it.
I'm calling this
You're
game
picking the Cowboys.
24-17 Cowboys
I dig it.
are going to win.
I dig
Let's
it.
go.
I dig the
Uh,
controversy.
Okay,
I
but
respect
I want
it.
you to see why I'm going to be saying this.
Okay.
Okay, the reason I am choosing the Cowboys to win this game is the much more steady offensive movement of the Cowboys.
You're right.
And that's going to come factor in later on in the game. I'm just seeing the Chiefs growing a lot more tired the more
I can
the
see that.
game drags on, because the Cowboys tend to punch, and they punch hard. They run the clock. They have game time on
Oh, yeah.
their side. They carry the ball most of the time. They control the clock. And Kansas City, they've got good habits of holding on to the ball,
Yeah.
running the clock themselves. But I feel like the Cowboys are going to get ahead quick.
I can see
and
that.
The Chiefs are not going to be able to dilly-dally around.
I can
They're
definitely
going to
see
have
that.
to play from behind, and that's going to basically command them to play at the Cowboys' tempo.
You
What's
know
up?
Frankie's 2 cents?
What's up,
Now-
Did you
Frankie?
know the Chiefs lead the NFL in fourth quarter comebacks?
They
have
do.
like 3 or 4 this season.
They do.
Fourth quarter comeback.
I'm not talking
wins.
about this season, bro. I'm talking about career for Alex Smith, okay?
I'm just saying they're gonna put it on them.
I respect that. I'm just saying it's not gonna
Cowboys
happen.
will handle it. I think you're right. I think the Cowboys will take off ahead, and it'll look like good. But I've watched Alex Smith the past couple weeks, and I think he gives himself a challenge for some reason. He likes some sadistic comeback, and it works out for him. I mean, hell, they're top of their conference. He
yeah.
does it.
They're one of the top 5 teams in
That's what
football,
I'm saying.
without a
So
doubt.
he's been doing it. I think he likes it for the challenge. So I agree on that part, but I don't know.
See, my thing is, he's got Kelsey, and that's it. Who else is he?
Tyreek Hill.
Tyreek Hill.
Well, you're relying on rookies
Right.
to bring him
You're
back
right.
in the fourth
You're
quarter,
right.
You're
and
right.
that's my struggle.
It-
Is
it's
the
hard to-
Cowboys
it's hard
aren't
to-
relying on
But
rookies.
somehow this season,
You're right.
he's done it more than, like I said, more than anybody in they lead the NFL in comebacks.
You got a vet and a couple rookies
As I say,
and a solid tight end.
look at the vets that play for the Cowboys who are used to the fourth quarter heartbreaks and the fourth quarter comebacks.
That's all the linemen. That's the linemen, the defensive.
You got Dez, dude. You
Dez,
got
he's used to it.
You got
Dez,
Terrence
yeah,
Williams
you're
who's
right.
getting acclimated with it.
I mean, you're right. You're right. They know how to play
and
those
if you
tough
get
games versus
McFadden
rookies.
in there, McFadden's
You really-
acclimated
I mean-
to it as well, as is Morris, who has been in the league for countless
You actually
years,
make
as
some-
the Redskins. Dak is the only one who's not used to it, considering the season they led last year, where they don't lose.
No, you're definitely right. You've made, honestly, you've made a handful of points that I've never even thought of. Because, really, I didn't think about the fact that, yeah, Dallas has had those few dudes that know what it's like. Because Tony Romo, when he was in the NFL, he led I think he has the most fourth quarter comebacks of all
I was gonna say,
time.
you gotta hate Romo, but you gotta respect his ability to take a loss and then turn it into a win.
Oh yeah, no, Romo. He had moments of absolute greatness, but he had moments of absolute failure too. You know what I'm saying?
Like 6 spine injuries.
Yeah, I mean that's part of it. But for real, like when you've got that veteran, guys like Dak that played with Tony Romo, and it's like they know what it's like to come back in the fourth quarter. Those are the dudes that are going to matter more than these rookies that really, because Kareem Hunt and Tyreek Hill, they're both rookies, right? Or is Tyreek Hill his second year?
Second year.
Yeah.
Tyreek Hill's second year.
But
So you got a
he
rookie and a
sat
second
his
year.
First year.
Yeah.
I
So
believe.
either way, you got Tyreek Hill and Kareem Hunt, so a second year and a rookie. But then you've got Dez, who's a veteran, who's been on all those rough and tough Cowboys teams that were scraping by and everything. So I mean, you're definitely right. And Jason Witten's been there. He was there. Was he there when Bledsoe was the quarterback?
Don't ask me to. I probably wasn't born.
That was right. I remember. I watched Tony Romo's first game because Drew Bledsoe got hurt and Tony Romo came in, and that's where he held the snap in the playoff game,
Okay.
and he dropped it. That was his first game ever, and then he was the starting quarterback from there on out. But he played well that entire game. Then he dropped that snap, and that just kind of set the tempo for his whole career.
I think
Or
the
whatever.
one thing that you can respect about the Cowboys franchise is how much money Jerry Jones makes. And that's it.
Don't, dude.
That's the only thing.
The Cowboys are the most
number one.
valuable
Yeah.
franchise in sports.
Exactly.
They're
Yeah,
they're ahead of the
they beat,
Lakers,
the
the Celtics.
They beat
Yankees.
FC
The
Barcelona.
Yankees?
I was gonna say they beat FC Barcelona and Real Madrid, which
Yeah.
are $1 billion
In
teams.
international.
Yeah, no, yeah. The
international
Cowboys, they're the
team.
biggest international
That's
sports
the only
franchise
thing I respect
of all
about
time.
And it's
rest of
in
it.
one country.
The rest of
I mean,
Texas,
they-
the country of Texas. Yes,
Country.
I mean honestly.
the country of Jerry Jones.
Yeah, no. And the Cowboys are worth $4
And clearly
billion.
Zeke.
$4 billion. You said you have one more point about the NFL. What's up?
Alright, so I'm really just trying to pick at everyone's brains here. We know the Eagles have been having basically a franchise record season.
Oh,
for
one of
them.
their best years ever, to be completely honest.
But how are you feeling about them against the Broncos here this week? Since the Broncos have won, I think, a combined total of 2 games this year, but it's all been really decent defensive efforts and keeping it close games. And then one of the games they actually won was against
They beat
Dallas,
the crap out of
42 to
Dallas.
17.
Yeah, they destroyed Dallas.
So, how are you feeling about a team that's, I'd say it, pretty close to the Eagles offensively
I mean,
this week?
I don't think that they're gonna go 14-2. They'll probably end up 12-4. Yeah, but
Pretty realistic.
yeah, but I think they're serious Super Bowl contenders. So I don't know when their losses are gonna be. This week actually would be a good week. If you're looking at their schedule, that if they're going to lose a game, it could very well be this week. But I don't know. They're going to drop a few, but right now they're my favorite to win the Super Bowl. I've watched them play. They're the most complete team in football because Carson Wentz is the best quarterback in the NFL right now. He's playing better than Tom Brady. Aaron Rodgers is hurt. Dak is playing great,
Watson just got hurt.
yeah, Watson probably would have been. Watson, Alex Smith, and Carson Wentz are the 3 quarterbacks that I think have been playing the best. And Deshaun Watson just got hurt, and Alex Smith has had a couple bad weeks. So, I mean, I think Carson Wentz right now is the best quarterback in football. And I think they've got the potential to... I think their ceiling is winning the Super Bowl. I think that's for the first time in a long, long time, it's a legitimate Philadelphia team that could win a Super Bowl.
Since McNabb, but
Exactly.
all they really need to work on is their run blocking and run game.
And now that they got Jay Ajayi,
Yeah, I feel like he's still going to be running RB2 a little bit more
Yeah,
for
no,
their team, but
he'll
he's
be a
gonna
backup.
be a healthy change of pace.
Exactly. It doesn't ever hurt to have Jay Ajayi as your backup running back at worst. And what if he shows up and he starts playing great again like he did last year, and then he's their starting running back, so you have him playing at his normal level with Carson Wentz playing the level he's playing at, they're dangerous. They'll lose a few games. They might lose back-to-back games just like Kansas City has already. And I think Kansas City is still the best team in the AFC.
Contender.
Yeah.
Especially for their conference.
Exactly. I think I almost said KFC. KC in the AFC. That's awesome. No, I think they're one of the best teams in the AFC for sure. And I think Philadelphia, they could lose this game. And it wouldn't necessarily surprise me because it's kind of, once you've been rolling the way that they're rolling, they're bound to hit a roadblock soon. And this is a team that they could hit a roadblock, if Carson Wentz has a slow game, they can't open up the running game very much against Denver, and then they get in a hole, like you were saying with the Cowboys. Like if Philadelphia gets in a hole early, they could end up losing or whatever.
They slump.
Exactly. They could have a two game slump. They come back, they win a couple, they lose another, and then they get their strength back and they start rolling. I could see something like that happening. I don't know their schedule, but they're going to lose a few games, but that's not going to hurt their season as a whole. It's going to help them more because the teams that are always supposed to be unbeatable are always the teams that are the most vulnerable against the teams that face adversity. Right. Nothing makes your team better than losing a couple tough games and having to regroup and come together and then whoop your opponent.
Stronger,
Yeah,
right.
Exactly. If you haven't faced anything, even if you don't mean to, you're gonna be overly confident and you're just gonna, we're gonna win. We don't have to prepare or whatever. So that's my take on the Eagles.
All right. Well, I guess I really appreciate that. And then you referenced basketball. You brought in last year's champions, the year before that, and you brought in records, things like that, and what helped overcome adversity. And I don't think anybody here has noticed really, but if you haven't, the Cavs are off to a
They're
3-5
horrible.
start.
3-5.
Yeah, they suck right now.
The Cavs are terrible.
Are you seeing really them coming out of a slump after IT3 really comes back, makes his debut, and grows?
I don't even think they have to wait for that, because if you think about it, whenever LeBron and Dwayne Wade first started at the Heat, they kind of had the same start. But as the season progressed,
D-Wade, it's not the same D-Wade.
Well,
Yeah.
yes, without a doubt.
It's
He's
not the
requesting
same
to come
LeBron
off the
either.
bench now. Oh, right. Now,
Here-
either way, no
think
matter
about
what
it,
you do, it's
LeBron's
still
focusing
LeBron.
on-
Yeah, you gotta
This
watch
is-
out.
this
now,
isn't the-
you got that LeBron. You got the
There-
rumors that LeBron.
Okay.
but-
Well,
Let me-
you
let me-
gotta think-
You
I
gotta
mean,
have
LeBron,
regression
he
at
has
some
that
rate.
championship mentality. You can't beat that.
Oh, yeah.
Like, without
Everybody
a doubt.
does. So did Kobe, but look at the end of his career.
Look at Kobe. He had 5 rings, all right? And that's
But-
at the end of
Yeah,
his career that he
Shaq,
did that.
Which
Shaq
Kobe
had
are
3
we
rings.
talking about? We talking
Kobe
about
had
Kobe
2
number-
rings. So the Cavs, they're sucking right now. And I think you should be a little worried if you're a Cavs fan. You shouldn't panic. You shouldn't say, oh, we're out. The Cavs are still the best team in the East. And I'm a Celtics fan. And the Celtics are playing great right now. Kyrie is tearing it up. And I am not a Kyrie fan. I'll say on the record right now.
Kyrie, I hate his ego.
IT4
we live?
we're live. IT4 was one of my favorite players to watch in the NBA.
He's modest as hell, and he came up from nothing.
I love him. I love his intensity.
His sister died, and they
His sister died.
him like immediately.
Yeah,
That's
he
so-
played
He
2
That's so
came
messed
from
up.
reserves to bench to start
to
on
star
a team that
to MVP candidate.
to a
Yeah.
team that got rid of the
Missed
big
the fourth
3 and
And-
brought them back into playoff standards.
And honestly-
and then they cut him when his fucking family passes, and he needs his other family more than anything.
And they just throw him to the curb.
And he hurts himself, and they just throw him to the curb.
See,
like
here's
he's nothing.
the
And
thing.
What is your opinion on the Celtics organization there?
Here's my opinion as a Celtics fan.
Leprechauns.
I will always. I love the Celtics and I love the organization, but the fact and I loved what IT brought because he reminded me of like Paul Pierce and Kevin Garnett. They wanted to be Celtics and they wanted. Kevin Garnett is the second best power forward of all time,
I don't know.
behind
about
Tim
that.
Duncan, ahead of Charles Barkley.
That's absolutely accurate.
I don't know, Mama.
That's
Kevin
my
Garnett?
opinion.
Yes, I know who Kevin
Hey,
Garnett is.
Anyway.
Opinions like
Post
buttholes.
move.
Everybody's got one of those things.
Unblockable turnaround.
Anyway.
Kevin Garnett, you're saying
Yes.
he's not one of the greatest of all time.
If he's not in your top
Or you're
5,
just
you're
I'm not
great.
saying
top 3.
He said the second best.
Yeah,
That is
I say
no.
Tim Duncan, Kevin Garnett, Charles Barkley.
Charles Barkley's in the iffy top 3. Charles Barkley.
I'd give it to him.
Amazing.
I'd give it
But
to
he
him.
never won anything, so.
You're right, but I'd give it to him right now.
Are we talking like in general? Are we talking as a whole, depending on their positioning? Because I'm gonna pick Dennis Rodman
don't forget
as
about
my
Dirk.
top 3.
You're right.
Can't forget about Dirk.
You're right about Dirk.
Oh,
Dirk could easily be
Dennis
number
Rodman's
2.
coming off the bench, winning
he's still
championships, being a
Yeah,
crackhead.
I think.
yes.
I think the only thing is you
that's a
have
great-
you have to put Tim Duncan at number 1. I think he's earned that.
That's
Well, yeah,
pretty
in every
accurate.
respect.
I mean,
but
5
really,
rings, like that's
yeah, and
And
2
he
of
was
them
amazing.
against
He was
LeBron. You know,
Yeah.
there are only 3 people.
But
well,
then again, you gotta put
there are 4 people that
put
beat LeBron.
People
Shaquille
forget about
O'Neal
Tim
up
Duncan.
there
He
too.
was damn good.
Yeah, but see, I don't know how they forget about Tim Duncan.
Yeah,
he was
but-
basically the
Because-
franchise of the Spurs.
So-
because he
so
played
you're
fundamental
picking-
basketball. He
so
didn't
you're
have
picking-
fancy dunks.
Yeah, he wasn't
He didn't
fancy.
have killer crossovers. He played fundamental basketball. He scored 20 points and grabbed 12 rebounds and
Alright.
won basketball games with the pick and roll offense.
See, I was gonna
and
argue
you
with
notice
that.
the difference, though, like between
Greg
fundamental
Popovich
basketball.
is the greatest coach in the history of the NBA.
I
will
agree. I agree with that.
Long term, Tim Duncan might be the greatest player of all time. If you're talking how great he was for how long he was great, I mean, there are hardly any other. You can look at Bill Russell, who was great over like 14 years, won 11 championships.
Yeah, but let's talk about people in their prime. Let's compare.
If you're talking
that.
about people in their prime, Shaq is the greatest player of all time.
Yes.
For his 3. Shaq had the greatest 3 seasons of basketball ever.
no one
Ever. Ever.
Shaq, you couldn't stop Shaq.
No, he's
You
not
could not
stopping.
stop
There was no
But
one.
You gotta, if you're gonna throw in people on their prime, offensive and defensively, you're gonna have to throw Dirk in there.
No, definitely.
Yeah, but that between Shaq
Defensively-
and Dirk, though, that's
No,
not
Shaq-
even a comparison.
Not
The only
post-wise, but you're talking scoring and defensive wise. You will have to put Dirk in there because
depends.
he had the amazing outside
It-
play that also funneled in to fundamental post-driving offense, which
Yeah,
also
He was
led
just
to
too strong.
defense.
Couldn't
Yes.
stop Shaq.
Here's
and everyone
He
down
broke too
low
many
was
goals.
terrified.
Here's
Everyone
really-
down low was basically terrified to even go against him, to
Different
even try to
times,
compare.
man.
Yes, without a doubt, different times. The difference in today and now. Today it's more focused on probably like shooting, beating someone off the dribble, and then scoring. It's not really focused on fundamental basketball.
But then you
It's
got
not
to put
focused on
DeMarcus
post
Cousins
man.
in on that conversation because he's
All
a little
right.
bit of both.
All right, he is. He is. DeMarcus Cousins is amazing.
Okay, so it kind of comes down to what you're talking about when you're talking about a player's prime. We talking about 3 years, 1 year, 5 years. What are we talking a 3-year prime probably?
Yeah,
probably
more than
3 years.
likely. Yeah, because you got to keep relevance in key. You can't talk about a full career because there are players that stand out their entire career.
No, you're right.
Even if it's not outstanding to the 1 or 3 or 5, it's outstanding
It's still-
in a term of 10 plus years.
Yeah, because you look at great players that have a lot of them have a 2-year prime and they're amazing and people think they're so great. But there are players that have a 10-year prime that are better than those guys. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I don't have any specific examples per se, but
I have one.
What's
I have
that?
one. If you cannot take him out of the picture, Damian Lillard.
yeah.
All right, he is wonderful.
That's-
He's been wonderful
That's
since
what I
he.
was
But
going
then
to
if
say.
you're not, we can talk Cavs with their 3 and 5. But
Definitely. And
we
the
can also
Celtics are
talk
6 and 2.
Celtics, yeah. We
What-
can talk with them.
Because you asked me what was up with my view on the Celtics organization. So here's my view on the Celtics organization based on the IT trade. I hated it because I feel like IT represented what it meant to be a Celtic.
Right.
I think he was the embodiment of Boston basketball. And I mean, I'm from Jonesboro, Arkansas.
There's a sense of decency, respect,
Exactly.
and part of the organization and embodiment.
He put everything on the court for the Celtics. He wanted to be a great all-time Celtic. He wanted to be mentioned in the same sentence with Bill Russell, Larry Bird, and Paul Pierce.
And if you think
He
about
wanted
it,
to be
that's
in the-
basically what the whole Celtics franchise was based around. 'Cause,
Exactly.
I mean, each Celtic, if you think about the past, each Celtic that ever played was proud to be a Celtic.
Exactly.
They were a franchise player.
Exactly.
Yes.
Look at Larry Bird. Larry Bird wasn't supposed to be anything in the NBA.
Mm-hmm.
He was a big white dude, and then during his time, he was one of the most dominant players of his era by far. like, you know, he was a little bit before Magic Johnson. They overlapped a lot, but like,
What was that, 77?
yeah, back in the
80s.
70s, early 80s, you know, mid 80s, him and Magic Johnson were the two best players in the NBA. But,
And
you
it's
know,
hard
Larry
to
Bird.
stand out whenever you have someone like Magic Johnson.
Exactly, but
playing
Larry
against
Bird did because he was a Celtic.
Yes.
It was the Celtics and Lakers. Those are the two places where you can go, and if you're a star, you become immortal. If Kobe played for the Trailblazers, he would never have been Kobe, even if he won 5 championships.
I still feel
because
like Kobe still would have been Kobe.
he
though,
would have
'cause
been, but I'm saying like legacy-wise,
Oh,
being great and being a Laker
He
is
said-
bigger
he
than
wouldn't
being
have been-
great and being a Memphis Grizzly.
But
there
if you're
was-
talking
there wouldn't
about
be that saying of bleeding purple and gold. There wouldn't have been, you know, multiple songs written about being a Laker fan.
Exactly.
You know how many songs were
Exactly.
written
But if you think
and
about it, the
correct.
whole legacy point of it, like most people now, they don't believe in the whole legacy point. Because if you notice, there's a lot of people leaving the teams they start with.
Because
At the very
because
beginning.
basically right now it's because of the Michael Jordan argument is that he built a legacy so big that nobody's ever going to be able to touch it. So their point is, why try? Because they watched LeBron, who may be the greatest basketball player of all time.
Yes.
They watched him fail to reach Michael Jordan's legacy because his legend is bigger than he is. It will
That's the
forever be.
name, though.
It will forever be. Even if somebody came out and won 15 consecutive championships and averaged 50 points a game,
There would
no
still
one
be
would
never-
ever say he's better than Michael Jordan.
No.
Because
Michael
the
Jordan
argument's
played
over.
with the flu during his playoffs.
Yeah, the
That's
the
the
argument
difference,
Jordan
though.
the argument
played
has
at
already
a
been
time that
decided.
was behind him.
They've already
Yes.
crowned Jordan the greatest of all time, and no one will ever surpass it, no matter how much they do. So the players, they don't need their legacy anymore because they said, well, hell, you remember how much crap they gave LeBron for not winning a ring? Like, I don't want that to happen to me. I'm going to go win a ring. And, you know, I'll go home with a few $1 million and a few rings, and they can have my legacy.
But
I don't
now
care.
they're more focused on championships. More
Exactly.
than loyalty.
I was gonna say,
Which
no,
I don't know if I agree with that.
Do you think that?
But that's the new look NBA.
Changing the legacy and the actual consistency of franchising yourself. Do you think that played into Durant becoming a Golden State Warrior to go and win a ring? Do you think that really applied in him, seeing that he would never reach the potential of name stasis as Michael Jordan, or do you think he just saw that as pure selfishness, or just
I really
was straight selfish.
I really don't think that it had anything to do with his legacy. I think what he wanted, which from a human being perspective, I can't blame him for his decision, because if you have a chance to play for one of the greatest teams ever and you're going to fit in more than perfectly, like you're the missing piece for making a team unbeatable, like I feel like you make that move. And I know it's awful to Russell Westbrook and the rest of the Thunder organization and all the fans for just leaving the way he did. I feel like just like LeBron when he went to South Beach, which was a totally different situation. LeBron couldn't beat the Celtics, so he joined up with the Heat to try to beat the Celtics. KD couldn't beat the Warriors, so he went to the Warriors. Totally different situation. But at the same time, like, he could have handled it better, but I don't blame him as a person for his decision, because if that was me and the greatest team, one of the greatest teams of all time, you know, I mean, if Golden State wins that championship against Cleveland in 5 games, you know, they go down as easily a top 3 team ever.
But,
Yeah.
73 wins championship, you know.
Do you
But-
blame KD for at least the bad blood personally and professionally between himself and Russell?
No, it's 100% his fault. He could have handled it better. He should have. But from just a personal standpoint, like, I can see where he's coming from. I would have went to the Warriors too. Because Durant will never be the greatest player in the NBA. Because LeBron, kind of like Jordan, LeBron, even if he's not as good as KD, he will hold that legacy to where LeBron will be the best player in the league basically until he retires.
That's because he doesn't have a retarded nickname.
That's true. But see, KD's prime will be over by the time LeBron retires, and then Giannis and Kawhi and maybe John Wall or Kyrie Irving or whoever is going to be the best player in the NBA. and it's not going to be LeBron anymore, and it's not going to be KD either. So I don't think KD really had much of a legacy to base that off of, because I don't think he cares about his legacy, because he knows, kind of like Karl Malone. My dad's always told me that Karl Malone would have been by far the best player of the 90s. He would have been Michael Jordan, but he had to play with Michael Jordan. And Kevin Durant would be LeBron James if not for LeBron James. So he doesn't really have much of a legacy to play with. So he's going to do what's best for him and win a championship, because he's like, it's not going to matter. Everybody's going to remember LeBron over me, just like everybody remembered Michael Jordan over Karl Malone and Charles Barkley, and everybody remembered, Larry Bird and Magic Johnson over Dominique Wilkins, So I feel like it's just like a cyclical thing. Like, you're going to have your one superstar, just like, Kobe outshined Allen Iverson and Tracy McGrady. LeBron's outshining Carmelo and KD. And then next it might be Giannis outshining Lonzo and somebody that's not in the league yet, and Jason Tatum or whatever. We don't know.
If Tracy McGrady had not played against Kobe, I feel like he would have at least been one of the top 5 players.
Exactly. He would be an all-time legend.
All right, I hate to hit on this. Love Tracy McGrady as a person, as a player. His handles did not fit the criteria of the game that he was in.
No, not at all.
And
but
when
at
he
the same
decided
time,
to leave Orlando and go to the Rockets, it changed the whole entire dynamic of his game style, and it limited himself as a player, especially after facing injury that he came off of.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like he wouldn't have been a top player. He's a top name. Don't get me wrong. And
definitely
great
Dude,
guy.
he's a hell of a shooter.
I was going to
Yes,
say great
he is.
guy,
Great
great shooter,
all-time
but
shooter.
he used to be a great dunker too.
He did. Ray Allen was in a dunk contest Kobe's rookie year, like 1998, 96 maybe.
And then
Ray Allen was
shin
in a dunk
splints.
contest, yeah. So, I mean, dudes
That's
like
it.
Tracy McGrady and Ray Allen used to be great at everything, but then just became shooters a
while we're
little
hitting
later.
on injuries here, Gordon Hayward, if we're going to be talking about that, he just got through with this scary surgery, which turned out pretty well apparently for him. I don't think he's meant to return for at least.
I don't want him to come back this
I was
year.
gonna say I
I don't want him to come back this season. As a Celtics
I
fan,
think he's
it's going to mess everything up.
already, but I don't think they're going to play him.
I wouldn't.
What do you
I
think
wouldn't.
this bodes for the next season for them?
I think he's going to come back. I don't think it's going to set him back as much as people think it will. He'll need a few games, maybe a month even into next season. But I think he's going to be ready in time for training camp, obviously. And as long as he gets in that system and gets with those players, I think, because Gordon Hayward, he's very slept on. He's a great role player. He's like a Mike Conley. If Mike Conley went to a big name franchise, say he went to, not like the Thunder or Warriors, but maybe
Celtics.
Yeah, somebody like the Celtics, really, if Mike Conley went to a team like that, then he's all of a sudden like a great contributor. He's not he might be an all-star. He's not a superstar. He's not Kyrie. He's not Steph Curry. But Mike Conley would be a great role player on a great team. And that's how Gordon Hayward is, I think. He's going to be he's not a ball-dominant small forward. So, Kyrie can run the floor, and he's got scoring threats with Gordon Hayward, Jason Tatum a year from now, and Jaylen Brown a year from now, which are going to be great prospects. You still got Al Horford, who's going to be coming out. He's getting older every year, but he's still a legitimate big man. He's like a Tim Duncan without the legacy,
He's a
but
threat all on the floor.
yeah, he plays very fundamental basketball, and he can score. He can get a layup, and he can grab a rebound. And if you've got a player that can do that every time they touch the ball, you've got a solid player. He might score 10 points, get 8 rebounds every game, but
See,
when you've got the other scorers around him, that's all you need. So, speaking of Gordon Hayward, though, that kind of takes it back to what we were originally saying. This is like the third time we got distracted from it, but the Celtics, I'm disgusted with Danny Ainge that he would trade IT, and I think Kyrie is a great investment for the future. I think Kyrie, Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, I think that's a core that you can really build around for the future big time. But I think that's just disgusting to me that he would get rid of Avery Bradley, get rid of Jay Crowder, get rid of Isaiah Thomas, all in the same offseason. And when those guys are the heart and soul of the team that made it to the Eastern Conference Finals, just to replace them with people with potential and some talent, instead of guys with heart that want to be there and love what they're doing and want to be Celtics.
See,
To replace them with people who just don't want to be. Kyrie's like, I don't care where I go, I just don't want to be in Cleveland. And it's like Isaiah said he'd rather be in Boston than anywhere else. And so I'm disgusted. I hate that Danny Ainge would do that. But, at the same time, I understand it from a strictly business point of view. But, how do you get rid of your best player after he plays 2 days after his sister dies? And he's by far your best player. And you trade him for some guy who all he's proven is that he can't be the man when LeBron isn't on the floor. And even if Kyrie's great, that's fine or whatever, but Danny Ainge still bet all his cards on somebody who has never proved that he can actually be a leader of a team. When Kyrie's playing without LeBron, the Cavs are horrible. The Cavs are horrible all the time without LeBron,
So
no matter who's on the
he
floor.
showed the same thing.
Exactly.
Kyrie, anyway.
That's what I'm saying. Kyrie has not proved a single thing. Even the Celtics are 6-2 this year with Kyrie. He's proved nothing to me. And I want to like him. I want to like him. I'm a Celtics fan, and I want them to do great. But I hate that they traded IT because he seemed like a generational player in the system he was in at the time. I felt like him as a Celtic, he could do great things and even win us a championship after LeBron and Golden State kind of finally peak and that dynasty ends. I felt like IT was going to be poised to lead the Celtics to a championship behind Jason Tatum, Gordon Hayward, Jaylen Brown, Avery Bradley. Keep the core together, keep them growing. Jay Crowder, all them. Keep that core together with Isaiah as your leader, and I feel like that team could do great things, but they got rid of everybody to add Kyrie.
all right.
And I don't know. I'm not as I'm more hopeful for like the distant future, but it's not as much for the near future.
All right.
While we're talking about the Eastern Conference and such, I want to talk about Malik just for a minute because this is a Northeast Arkansas podcast.
Yep.
So Malik Monk, EPC, played for from Lepanto, played at EPC, played at Bentonville, played at Kentucky. The other night for the Charlotte Hornets, they won 126-121 over Giannis Antetokounmpo's Milwaukee Bucks. Malik Monk, he had 16 of Charlotte's first 18 points in the fourth quarter. He ended up scoring 25 points overall. I think he was 5 for 8 from 3. Hold on, let me double check that real quick. Malik Monk, 25 points, 2 rebounds, 1 assist, 5 for 8 3-point shooting, 10 for 17 on field goals, played 23 minutes, which matched starting shooting guard Jeremy Lamb, who had 16 points, 4 rebounds, 2 assists on 5 for 11 shooting, 2 of 4 on 3-pointers. Malik showed up last night for the Hornets. They beat one of the best teams in the East with they beat the Milwaukee Bucks, who have Giannis Antetokounmpo, who they held to a season low 14 points, 13 rebounds, which is not a season low, but they held him to only 14 points. This is the first time this year that he's scored less than 28 points, if I'm not wrong. I think his lowest this year was about 28, maybe 24, 26. It's in there somewhere. I'm just guessing this off the top of my head. But Middleton actually scored 43 for the Bucks, with Brogdon adding 20 and Tony Snell having 17. But yeah, Malik Monk off the bench for Charlotte had 25 points, which was one shy of the high for the Hornets, which was Kemba Walker with 26. Malik hit more shots than Kemba, but shot a lower percentage. 5 of his shots were threes. But he tore it up. the Hornets are pretty good. They're 5-3. They have a better record than the Bucks now. Let's see. In the Eastern Conference, they currently sit at number 5. Malik, he's had a few games with less than 5 points, but he's had games of 16, 17, and now 25 points for the Hornets in his first 7 games as a rookie, coming off the bench. So, what do you guys think of that? What do you think of Malik compared to like other rookies in the league right now? You know, you got Lonzo, you got Jason Tatum, Josh Jackson. You know, they're all Markelle Fultz. They're all kinds of high-profile rookies right now. Where do you think Malik really ranks compared to them? And Ben Simmons is technically a rookie, so I'll even take him. So
it's just really cool seeing him come from such a small town.
For real.
Because, Lonzo, I don't know where he's from, but
he's from Los Angeles.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, he comes from EPC, East
Yeah.
Poinsett County School. I mean,
That's smaller than the school that we went to.
Exactly. So, I mean, that's just cool seeing that. I mean, yeah, he's not doing as well as them, but he's doing fantastic compared to any of us in the NBA.
I mean, you can't really even say he's not doing as well as them, as consistency
it's a limited
minutes
role.
wise. He's not even a role player.
I mean, you're right.
Which I think that'll benefit him.
If he got the time Lonzo got per game, minutes-wise, there's no telling.
But I
feel like the only one that's actually truly consistent is probably Ben Simmons. That's something like 100%.
Well, yeah.
You gotta
Fultz
say
is
Fultz.
Fultz has been hurt
Right.
though. He's been hurt. He's out for like a month right now.
Where did he get
Oh, I
hurt?
didn't know that.
He hurt his shoulder. Yeah, he's out for like a month right now. Yeah.
Well, all right then.
But no, I think Malik, he has the potential to be the best player to ever come out of the state of Arkansas.
Oh, without a doubt.
Right now, it's probably Sidney Moncrief, the first ever and the second ever Defensive Player of the Year in the NBA. Played for the University of Arkansas.
Scottie Pippen came out of Arkansas too, though.
Scottie Pippen came out of Arkansas, yes. Was he born in Arkansas? Because I'm not really sure. I know he played for UCA.
Yes, I don't know if he was.
Because see,
actually
Malik
born in
was.
Arkansas.
See, I don't know. I'd have to look it up. Sorry to our viewers that we don't have all these stats just on site, but yeah, I'm not sure if he
Get us some money and we'll do it.
Yeah, exactly. Somebody donate a bunch of money to us, and then we'll have all this technology
Talking
that we can.
100 G's.
Yeah, I mean, shit. I'd take if somebody wants to give me $20 to contribute. That'll pay for a month's worth of this software that we're using to make this podcast for free. So, help us out, man. If you dig what you're listening to, help us out. Invest with us, man. We'll make money for you, maybe, or we might lose it all. I don't know.
Scottie Pippen was born in 1965 in Hamburg, Arkansas.
Hamburg, Arkansas. Okay, so
Hamburg.
Scotty,
Alright, that's
Scotty
Pippen
okay.
is the
So
best.
Scottie
Very
Pippen.
similar. A lot of deer hunting. Hamburg's
Scottie
pretty close.
Pippen is
So,
the best.
Scottie
player to
Pippen
come
is the
from
best player to
Arkansas.
ever come out of the state of Arkansas.
So far.
So far.
Yes,
Now,
yes.
I would say up there, you've obviously got Sidney Moncrief, the first and second NBA Defensive Player of the Year. The first year they ever gave it out, gave it to Sidney Moncrief. He was 6'4", played power forward in the NBA. Defensive Player of the Year the first 2 years they ever gave it out.
I also feel like up there should be Michael Klein because he is
Stop.
one of the best players.
Stop.
to
Mike
come from
Klein listens. Hey,
Arkansas.
boy, hit me up.
Mike Klein, hit us up, dog. Come do a podcast. So third could be Corliss Williamson, Joe Johnson. You got a few.
You can't really put Corliss Williamson in it because he didn't have much of
He won a
pro
championship
career.
with the 04 Pistons. He won Sixth Man of the Year. But
I mean, Joe Johnson.
Joe Johnson's
You
better
can't
than Corliss
put that in
Williamson.
career-wise.
No, you're right. You're right.
Career-wise,
don't get me wrong,
I would still put
named
Scottie
after-
Pippen though.
I was named
You're right.
after the Big Nasty.
You really were.
I got some favoritism here.
But you're right. I think Joe Johnson.
You can't pick him for a career-wise best player of all time to play professional.
No, you're
basketball.
definitely right. But so here's the thing, I guess. So Joe Johnson is probably number 3 to ever come out of the state of Arkansas, right?
Oh,
Yes.
Really?
Derek
I would-
Fisher
I
came
would
from
put-
Arkansas.
I would
Derek
put-
Fisher is from Little. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, you're
you
right.
can't
You're
put him
definitely
in-
right.
You can't put him in top 3 though. I'm gonna put Magic Johnson at number 1.
Magic Johnson, he's not from Arkansas.
I thought he
Google it.
What?
Somebody
What?
clearly needs it.
I thought he was born in
My phone's
Arkansas.
on.
Was he? Google it.
All right, Bill Clinton did this.
Bill Clinton is the greatest basketball player in the state of Arkansas.
If Magic Johnson is not from Arkansas, I feel like Derek Fisher should be in top 3 from Arkansas.
You're
anyway.
right. I mean, you're right. If not,
If he is from
He was
Arkansas,
born
then
in Michigan, boy.
holy Hannah, you're right, my friend.
Anyway,
I don't know.
Either way,
I'm
okay.
crazy.
So Joe Johnson is a top 5 player from the state of Arkansas.
Oh,
That's
I
for sure.
would put him top 3, honestly. 'cause
Okay.
You got.
That's what I'm saying.
No, maybe 4.
Definitely
maybe
top
4,
5.
maybe
Definitely top 5.
Definitely top five.
It's top
Yes.
3
So,
criteria.
Yes,
do you
without
think
a
that
doubt.
Malik's ceiling is higher than Joe Johnson's peak?
Ooh.
Without a doubt.
I think so.
Without a doubt.
I think so. So I'm saying
I think it will
Malik.
be.
Huh?
Said I think he definitely will be
Yeah.
able to answer that top 3.
I
So,
think that he
with-
would
at
be
the
able to
moment,
beat
it's
Scottie
too early
Pippen,
to say.
if not a close second.
He could. Now, he could definitely be the second greatest player to ever come out of the state of Arkansas. I don't know if you're going to beat Scottie Pippen just because he rode Michael Jordan's coattail for 6
Yeah, but
championships.
see, that doesn't really count. You
But
gotta
it kinda
look at
does.
the actual
You're
player.
Legacy
saying
wise,
most-
no, you know what I'm saying
Who
though.
did what?
No, I don't know what you're saying, man.
Yeah.
Scottie
Scottie
Pippen would not have won a single championship without Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan did not win a single championship without Scottie Pippen.
Yes.
I'm saying they're 2 and
That's
1.
fair enough.
So I'm saying I'm giving Scottie Pippen the benefit of the doubt at this point to where he's got 6 championships. That's going to be hard to beat. If Malik goes out and he's the best player on a championship team, then yeah, he's better than Scottie
The way I
Pippen.
see it,
But
though,
I don't think
championships can only judge so much. Dominique Wilkins had what, none?
none.
And
No, he didn't win
You're
one.
saying that Scottie Pippen was better than Dominique Wilkins?
Allen Iverson didn't win a
Yeah,
championship.
That's a good point.
Okay. Allen
I
Iverson.
am saying Scottie Pippen is better.
Okay, you
Yeah,
can
but
say that.
Scottie
Are you
Pippen
saying
is
Definitely.
better
Allen
than
Iverson?
No, I'm not
Okay,
saying that.
exactly. There you go.
No, I mean championships only mean so much. But I'm saying if you're
Allen
the
Iverson
second
had a
best,
championship though.
if you're
No,
the
he lost.
second best
He went to
player,
a championship.
He
if
did.
you're the
He
second
did.
best player on
Wilkins
6
didn't.
championships,
No, I don't think he did he?
No, Wilkins didn't.
no,
go to a
Wilkins never won a championship.
No, didn't even
No,
make
he
it to the
didn't.
championship.
No, he
Go to
never
a
went.
championship.
No, he played in Jordan's era. He was in the East. Jordan went every year, and
Iverson
then
went,
when
what,
he
2
didn't,
years in a row.
No, he only went one.
And that,
Iverson
kinda
won
goes,
one.
and that goes back to the
Championship
same
one
thing we were saying earlier. You put him in a different time era, and
you can't compare eras. That's the whole thing.
I was gonna say.
well,
So
no,
it's a
I mean,
different
but if he
game now
wasn't, if he
and
wasn't
then.
challenged against Jordan and all of them and Karl Malone, yeah,
You're right.
he probably might have gone to the championship.
No, you're
You know what I'm
definitely
saying?
right.
That's a hard.
It kind of that's
It's
kind of
kind of
how it
like
works for
us in
everybody.
Brooklyn this year. They got to play Harrisburg or Manila.
Speaking of, that's a good
Valley View.
that's a good segue because I want to give a shout out. What did you say the final score was? 51-7, something
I
like that.
think so. Something stupid.
All right, so I got to give a shout out to the hometown football team because so we played back in 2013/14.
First team ever.
The first at Brooklyn High School, the first ever 7th grade game, the first football game in school history. We were in 7th grade and we played Corning. We lost 18-14. I'll never forget it. I was like 2 yards away from a touchdown, and Joel Young stole my touchdown. Would have been the first in Brooklyn history. No, Zach McCluskey.
touchdown.
Zach McCluskey stole the first touchdown. Joel stole my second touchdown. Doesn't matter. So that was the first ever Brooklyn game. We played in the first ever Brooklyn High School game. In our senior year, we went 4-6. We beat Brinkley,
Truman.
Mountain View, Piggott, and Truman. We went 4-6. We lost to Highland, Pocahontas, Gosnell, Westside, Cave City, and Valley View. Valley View blew us out. It wasn't even close. So we were 4-6 in our second year of varsity football, and that was the best record in school history, obviously. The first year we went 3-6, then 4-6, then they went 2-8 back-to-back years. This year, they just won their 5th game of the season, so they finished 5-5, first ever winning record in Brooklyn history. They started 3-0 with wins against Manila, Cedar Ridge, and Corning, and then lost to Gosnell, Highland, Pocahontas, Westside, and Truman, and then won their last 2 games against Harrisburg and Cave City to finish 5-5, first winning record in school history. They're going to miss the playoffs because they only won 2 conference games, but they were the first team ever. They broke our record. even though we had to play Valley View and Brinkley and Mountain View and Piggott, and you got to play Manila and Cedar Ridge and Harrisburg and Cave City, and who did I miss? Corning. Yeah, you got to play a bunch of easy teams, and you beat our record. That's all right. We were still better than.
Congratulations.
We were still better than you, but
Good
congratulations.
season. One shout out to Riley Rainwater and Reed
Reed Lane.
Lane. Seen you boys turned up this year. Good job,
No,
guys.
dude. Dylan Marsh, Luke Hillis, you guys were
Yeah, Luke
badass
Hillis,
this
you
year.
little underage little kid. I'll catch you on the flip. Good job, boy.
You
Good
kid
job.
that's the cousin of a dude that was on the cover of Madden. I mean, you had to be good. You know what I'm saying? We weren't that good, but we weren't supposed to be
Good job,
good.
guys. Good job.
So, I mean, we'll congratulate
Which one's
you
always getting
or whatever,
better.
but you take us in our prime versus you guys, and it's not even close. We're going to whoop y'all, but congratulations for what you... Hey, it doesn't matter.
Wait, when's our prime? Because I'm probably at my prime like a year ago, and that was when I was like 170.
Hey, either way.
Like a fourth
No,
grade.
us
Hey, should we say
us
something?
senior year versus you guys, we're going to whoop y'all.
Should we
but-
say something about that?
Is it till he is age 7?
the
His
MLB?
prime is from 23 to 27.
Do you guys want to say something about the World Series? Astros won the World Series.
Hey, Astros won the World Series. Cool. Good job, Astros.
Good job,
I made
Astros.
fun
We're proud of
this
you.
Season because I said you were never gonna win a World.
I picked you guys to sweep, and it took 7 games, but I picked the right team. Kevin didn't. Kevin was wrong. Matt, you picked the Astros.
Wait, did
Everybody
Frankie,
Like Kevin
I'm sorry.
did, I did.
pick the
Frankie picked the
Dodgers?
Astros. Chase picked the Astros. Kevin picked the Dodgers. Devin picked the Astros. So Kevin is the only person that watches baseball, and he was the only person that was wrong about the World Series. So never listen to any opinion he ever has again. And honestly, that might be a good place to sign off because we've recorded like a lot of
2
audio
hours
tonight.
worth.
Easily 2 hours. I'm gonna have to edit it all out, but it's been awesome, dudes. Thanks for listening, all 8 of you that are actually gonna listen to at least 5 minutes of this. Probably the 3 of you that are gonna listen to the whole thing outside of the people in this room. We appreciate you. We hope to hear from you next week. Hopefully this will be up by Saturday. This was recorded on Thursday night on November 2nd. So, if we miss anything, if it's out Saturday and some happen Friday, get over it. We'll cover it next week because, it takes a little bit to edit this crap, man. So, we'll see you guys next time. Thanks for hanging out with us. This has been SlingShot Radio with Frankie and the boys, alright? See you guys next time. Thanks for listening. We'll be back eventually, probably next week, whatever. See y'all later. Peace out.
Peace.
Hoo-ee.